My God. Oh, this is going to be a good one. This is going to be the Nino Chavez stuff. Oh, hey, how you doing?
Hello. All right.
All right.
How about yourself?
I'm doing okay. Not too bad. Trying to write legislation and make some pretty big decisions. So I'm prepared to get fucked in all crevices. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So I understand that you're kind of like the de facto like shift lead for shift 3. Is that right?
I am the shift lead for shift 3.
Gamer,
yes.
thank you for the fresh sub. All right. Okay. Cool. And how's that been going?
I think quite good actually. Especially compared to the previous department. I've always been shift 3 ever since I got hired. We just have like overall a higher number of officers on duty, higher morale, like everything seems to be going pretty much as almost as smooth as it could be going.
That's good. What is there like? What would you say like the rate of crime is like? I've only like I very minimally stepped foot in shift 3, so it's kind of I'm completely oblivious to how things are over there.
It's definitely not your late shift 1 and shift 2 vibes. It's actually gives people like some breathing room. Sometimes it will be completely dead, I will say, but usually it's pretty steady. We have a lot of it's going to be more like the pettier kinds, like roof running and a lot of boosting nowadays and stuff like that. So it keeps us busy.
Boosting? Oh, people are boosting cars?
Yeah, they are again.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of the same deal as before, to be honest.
Wait.
We'll have, locals or like shots fired even sometimes, and stolen car, sometimes with tracker, sometimes not.
Okay.
The cars are pretty shit though that they're boosting right now.
I gotcha. Have those become like have they become like at all violent, like escalated to violence, or they're pretty tame?
We had a shootout today over one.
Oh, do you mind like what led to that?
I think it just we got the car boxed and everything, and
oh no,
I'm not really sure what exactly happened, but
yeah,
I think it was just the Saints saying they wanted to blast, so they blasted. I mean, it was only 3 of them. We took them down pretty easy.
Okay.
I don't think there was.
Wait,
really
so did they shoot over the vehicle or over the arrest?
I think the car was already boxed. I think maybe it was to try to. They were in a different car now, and so maybe avoiding the VAF or maybe something like that on the.
Oh, like
car.
the interfere. Oh, yeah. You had their cop.
We already had the boost car like completely boxed and everything. I don't know.
I didn't realize we had gotten there.
Oh yeah, no. All of the boosts nowadays turns into a bunch of interference coming.
Give me just 1 second.
Good day, Mr. Travis.
Hey, Archibald. Good job on the jaywalking thing.
Thank you, sir.
Can you go into suggestion mode on the Los Santos County traffic regulation, and using the same format that Abilene put for the stop and go, put the jaywalking thing in the same way. It's probably going to be some copy pasting, but
okay.
Yep. Does that make sense?
We're trying, we're trying to unify all our traffic stuff into one thing, I assume?
Exactly, yeah. And when you see the updated document, it'll make sense. And after that, I want you to think about what you want to tackle next.
All right, fair enough. I'll get on that.
All right, thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Sorry about that. I saw him wake up, and you know, gotta get him going.
Yeah, busy man.
Yep. So sorry, what you were saying?
What was I saying? Oh yeah, it was just. I don't think it was over the biz. I'm not completely sure. I think it was just they
Well,
maybe
over the
thought
VAF, maybe.
they could, yeah, or they could just blast at least one, like the one cop that was on them and then get away. But I think they just didn't realize that there was another cop right there too.
Okay. Oh shit. That's kind of shitty.
But that was shootouts are pretty rare in shift 3. At least when the cops are getting shot. Gang wars are definitely happening, but.
Oh yeah, I walked through one just earlier. That's why I sent out the state announcement.
Oh yes, I did see that.
Yep.
Yeah. So there's plenty to like keep us steady at least. And I mean, for a while there, we were, I think it was almost 2 months straight. We were getting like 20 plus units on duty every day. Nowadays it's kind of dipped a bit. And a lot of people are taking breaks, a lot of LOAs and stuff. But still pretty good, to be honest, until it gets into closer to shift 1 time.
Okay. So I transparently outside of shift 3, as far as I'm concerned, PD looks to be the worst I've ever seen it in the last like 25 years since I left Silver Lake to come to Los Santos. Now
I would be inclined to agree. It's quite a mess.
It's as someone who ran a business for 2 months and then got into law, I have just seen members of high command and command ignore citizens, have their rights violated. There's officers that have sent people to prison without giving them an opportunity to even get a lawyer. I've seen them in front of me state that they're going to press charges because, hey, it might just fit. I've seen officers escalate normal traffic stops and out of pettiness bring that to felonies. I've been witness to severe officer corruption, aka like Riker and Maeve, which took way too long to take action on. If I'm going to be real with you, Barrick is probably the most dog shit member of high command that y'all have ever dealt with. I know that he's gone to gangs and sucked them off and then gone back to the PD and sucked them off, making everyone think he's on his side. The man sat in my office and verbatim told me he was sucking my dick for 5 weeks to tell me what I wanted to hear. Unfortunately, most people aren't going to believe that even happened because it's so insane. To the point that even I was stun-locked when those words came out of his mouth. Subsequently, this divorced mom and dad situation between him and Ruby clearly led to a lot of dysfunction, leading to Ruby, in my opinion, probably doing 95% of the work. However, between both of them, with Max at the helm, the only thing I see left with the PD right now in its current state is a handful of good officers surrounded by those that seemingly have forgotten why they decided to be cops to begin with. Forte, Maeve, Riker, I mean, those are probably just 3 that may have just recently gotten fired, but probably should have gotten taken care of a long time ago. I don't even blame those 3 directly. In fact, I hope that within the police department that those firings are not a reflection of saying, well, they were the odd ones, and instead the PD as a whole looks internally and say, why did we not set them on the right path to begin with? I am not oblivious to the fact that Slacks is a product of, Rika and Maeve are a product of Slacks. I know this because I was involved very early on, 6 weeks back, when Tilly's phone originally got looked through. And I saw how much nobody gave a fuck. I strongly believe that me having won the election is a big part of why all of a sudden disciplinary action is taking place. Because I saw the about face by some of the officers that didn't want to even, that had the audacity to say I'm Chenggang the second day I was back and fucking act a certain way around me. But the moment the election started going one way, about face. Now, luckily, not everybody's like that. For example, Vivian Gray, who I think has had strong integrity from the very beginning.
Yes, she has.
And so my biggest question to you, Sky, is who else has that level of integrity?
To be honest,
She's probably stunned locked. She's like, wait, this happened?
I would only be able to say myself. I've probably, if you name a command member, I probably have some kind of something that's rubbed me the wrong way in some way. And that's even within my own shift. But I love my command members. But nobody's perfect. All of the stuff that you're talking about with giving a shit about the people and stuff like that, that's something that I stress quite a lot with the people that I bring into my shift. That's something I have always focused on as well, is like I enjoy communicating with the people outside of the department. I treat everybody as like a person, whereas I know a lot of officers, they'll approach people and they treat them as a criminal right out the gate. Whereas even if I know somebody has a criminal record, I'm still going to talk to them like a fucking human. I'm still going to give them that basic decency and respect until they give me a reason that I have to do my job. I have shift 3. While I did say we probably have the highest morale of any shift, I would say that myself and my command members, we come down the hardest on our members of our shift. We've probably given out the harshest stat points in the entire PD.
Den, what's your ping number?
855.
All right. When you arrive, just kind of stand a little bit back, and then you can come over.
Okay.
All right. Bye.
Like I was saying, we do shift 3.
This guy's panicking. I guarantee
it. As soon as
it.
we see a problem, we're very quick to come up with a plan and attack on it and like execute it. And so, for example, we have if we've had officers go and be like antagonizing to game turfs or causing shootouts like that, we've been very, very quick to they get very strict DAPs. We give them 5 DAPs if they end up causing a shootout like that, which is one DAP off of a suspension, excuse me. Immediately. In Forte's case, he had that happen to himself, and he additionally had to do a presentation on
What hurts? Why? Think of the prime sub.
Not being antagonistic. It's something I have a 0 tolerance policy for in my shift. Which is why I think, despite the fact that we deal with highly violent gangs, i.e. Hydra, in shift 3 quite often. We don't actually get shot by them that often. And if we do, it's usually because somebody in shift 1 or 2 has pissed them off.
Yeah.
I have a very high standard for my officers, but I think we as a command, we work as a team very well to handle all of those issues very quickly, and that's something that I think other shifts lack, especially shift 2. I think McNulty sometimes is a bit too lax.
Yes, I have been personal witness to him ignoring cases of abuse, officer misconduct, and protect his officers at all costs. And if I'm going to be honest, as much as the good I've heard from other officers in regards to him, I think it is a massive reflection of his character that he had no interest in taking a high command position.
Yes, I think McNulty excels as a pursuit officer. As soon as he needs to do anything like office related, it's not his strength.
He stood over here. Look, I'm gonna be honest with you. I like McNulty. I'm sure that there is
I do too.
Like, there is a level of, here's the thing, right? And this is something that's like, I am not Andy Jones. I am not gonna sit in BCSO and ride with officers all day. I'm inherently a lawyer, right? And I inherently was elected by the people, not the police department. I mean, half of them voted for Osvaldo, at least. And in and of itself should be traumatizing for anyone in that department. That it was like, hey, let's get the guy that wants to turn this place into Cuba and can barely speak, like, without, like, just repeating back what someone wants to hear. And say, hey, this is smart. Where I'm going with this is I want a department that has trust with the people, where the people trust the police, right? Because right now there is a massive divide. And, and I'm going to better paint what I'm trying to go with this is, I've been told a few times that under Max's reign, the PD's morale couldn't have been better. But the PD were literal terrorists. And I think anybody that misses the nuance of that statement has lost the plot. Right?
I think the morale under, Max was commissioner, basically was as high as it was because everybody was kind of riding the high of going after the CG stuff.
Yes.
And also at the time, we were so used to being like dumb bad and paid pretty poorly to then suddenly we're getting $3,500 an hour.
Well, the guy reduced y'all's pay to bullshit.
Yes.
And then it's like the moment he brings it up and it's like, here's guns, let's go hunt Changang, everything's good. And,
yes,
do all kinds of wild shit. I would very much argue that the state of the down bad PD is a side effect of that. As someone who used to sell guns to criminals way back, right? You know what would happen if you gave someone like a little mission to get a bunch of fucking guns? They'd get fucking excited. You know what happened when you took the toys away? They want to fucking kill you. You know what I mean? But
absolutely.
the PD isn't that much different, right? Like, yeah, there's standards. You have a different job, et cetera, et cetera. But at the end of the day, it's the same humans, right? One's in a gang, one's got a shield and badge. And sure, there's nuance, but my point there is that people forget very quickly what's happening, right? And if you give too much of leeway to anybody, too much power to anybody, people will look past the abuse. I mean, just think about, like, Los Santos does not produce better populace than the rest of the world, which has in and of itself engaged in wars where soldiers will literally kill people unjustly just because they're given an order. You kind of see where I'm going with this? So
Yeah.
leaders that aim for justice, protection of the people is the baseline of a good police force. I myself am not going to be judging how many cops you can bring in, what rate. I'm not going to be judging based on, like, you know, quite frankly, how many arrests you make. Right now, I think the LSPD desperately needs to say collectively, and I'm not so much talking about your shift because I know it's good. This is more 1 and 2, where like every day I wake up and there's like 6 like officers on duty, right? Is that say fuck it, right? Fuck the ones who ain't waking up. It's irrelevant, right? If they ain't showing up to work, it don't matter, right? But instead, take what is there, slowly build up, bring the right personalities in that want to learn and aren't like a tow truck driver that spent a total of 20 hours in the city. You know what I mean? Someone.
Oh, you would love our recruitment process and shift.
Oh, shift 3. Okay, I thought you meant the other ones.
Yeah.
I don't know what's happening, but I've heard horror
shift
stories.
3, we run our PMT differently than the other 2 shifts.
I think maybe you should help. Well, I don't want to overstep here, but point is, like, slow it down, right? Let's turn 6 to 7 over the month, 7 to 8 over the month. I'm not saying that's the recommended amount, but it's fine if it is, because once you get like a hand, I forgot what the word is, but once you have like enough of a cohesive force that's even like 8, 9, 10 people, and you're hyper focusing on just like 2 or 3 very dedicated recruits, your police force is infinitely more stronger because now your average went from 6 to 9, right? Like last I heard, the LSPD roster is like 150, which I don't know if how true that is, but that's like a scary number to think of, right? And I had, unfortunately, Den try to convince me that that's the number I should be looking at. I'm like, it's irrelevant, right? I could hire the entire city under the mayor's office and be like, I got the biggest office of all time, but none of them are going to show up to work, you know?
Yeah, you have to get the people who are actually active and show up. I believe shift 3 has the largest roster out of all of the shifts right now.
Yeah.
But
that's crazy. Shift 3 has the most.
People. Actually, quite the opposite.
Yeah.
Myself and usually Sergeant Lucas Lavender. I don't know if you've gotten to talk to him at all.
Who?
Lucas Lavender. He's a BCSO sergeant.
I've spoken to him a little bit. Shift 3, I've kind of, luckily you guys got it down. It's shift 1 and 2 that my concern is around, which is why I've had a very hard requirement of high command and command, the chief and ass chief being in those 2 shifts. And this is no, like, there's no other way to put this than it's got the highest amount of publicity. And without that, there's going to be World War III, right?
I'm aware.
So, okay, I'm glad.
No. So when I was hired originally to the previous department about 8 years ago, I used to patrol shift 2 quite often. I just didn't enjoy it as time went on, though, and I stuck to shift 3 more and more. But yeah, when me and Lucas are looking to recruit people for shift 3, we spend hours. Like, we look through their applications, we look into these, like, who these people are, and then our interviews. I swear to you, there's not a single police work related question in our interviews.
Yeah, that's insane.
It is all about them, how they are as a person.
Yeah.
Getting them to conversate and talk to us, and we just learn about them and we vibe check them.
Yeah,
because we can teach them how to be a good police officer. We can't teach them like how to be a decent human being.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I don't know what's happening in 1 and 2, but I swear, like, I feel like I run into, I don't know. It's the way I put it is like this. in shift 1 and 2, if you hire someone that's barely been in the city, well, then don't be surprised that it's going to take them 6 months to drive. And when they get yelled at by a criminal in shift 1 and 2, that they stop showing up. You know, like,
I agree.
yeah, you almost need to be, you know, have to have been around or read enough books about what happens in Los Santos.
Yeah.
Going back to the numbers thing, I also, you know, I'm actually was in the middle of writing policy for the future, for the police department, specifically for the chief and the ass chief. And it's primarily directed based on the desires of the people. And it hyper-focuses on accountability, expectations on discipline, little things. Think of it like a job rec. And a limitation on my power, because I can literally just change a chief every week if I wanted to, right? That's not going to happen, but I want there to be clear guideline as to what the high-level desires are, what the focus is. And most of that focus is on letting you guys build and not worrying too much about chasing down every call. That right now, in my opinion, maybe less applicable in shift 3, is I don't know when y'all are going to be able to breathe. And just because McNulty can go to everything doesn't mean he's dragging around dead bodies, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
I'm sort of already pretty secured in who I'm looking for chief. My biggest issue has been no one wants to lead shift 2, which inherently being the shift in which July 3rd happened is a problem. You can have the best shift 1 and best shift 3, but if shift 2 is overlooked, well, it's already good game. Get ready to pack your bags. You know.
That's hard because, like I said, I struggled to come up with names that would be as good as Viv.
Yeah.
Because I don't think McNulty is good for that job.
No.
I think, especially if you want them to be shift 2.
I have 3 names in mind that I'm gonna be mulling over. They are outside recruits, and I don't inherently see any other solution because I think at this point spoken to like 20 different offices, a good bulk of them in shift 2, and no one wants it. And I would not be doing my due diligence if you know, hey Viv, what's your state ID? Or sorry, your ping number?
891.
891.
Yeah.
Here we go.
All right, perfect. Thank you.
You know, I can't ignore that, right? Otherwise, you might as well just leave everything the same, right?
I don't know how an outside recruit would be. So, my main complaint.
I'm making it very clear. I don't care about the current LSPD, right? With that,
actually,
statement.
I'm not gonna say all of the shift 2 command. I'm gonna exclude Bayweather and Callista Bell. They're the 2 sergeants because I think they try their best that they can, but they are hamstrung by.
I mean, it's not hard. I already know who I'm gonna put in.
I think McNulty and now Declan for the BCSO. They're both everything just seems to move so slow when it comes to getting shit done in shift 2.
Well, they both go to calls like nonstop. My experience with Declan, while I think he can articulate things well, the first within an hour of me getting into the office, he was presenting a highway patrol unit for getting me on board for interceptors, and said it's not a cargo fast unit, but by the way, it's going to attach to calls. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like, he's also the
Listen,
PNT lead. So, like, I don't know what fucking crack some of these guys are smoking, but it's pretty obvious. They're like criminals, with all due respect, who are just working on the other side. They're chasing the same adrenaline rush.
I I have a very long history. I was SRU, HSPU. I am very much, I do like the cargo fast stuff, but I think that is not what even a close to a priority at the time, at
Yeah,
this time with the PD, because there are so many other issues that need to get fixed first.
agreed. And I hope you understand, like, I don't not want you guys to get that, but it's like, you know, it's like, imagine you're in like a fucking war-torn country, right? And like most of the population's like fucking dying or getting shot up or shooting, and like you know, one of your advisors comes in and is like, hey, so I was thinking we get like a private jet. You know what I mean? Like, motherfuckers get like beheaded in that. You know what I'm saying? Like, what the fuck is going on with it? Like, what is, you get what I'm saying? Like, why is this the first thing you want to bring up to the new mayor? Like, it's scary. That moment scared the shit out of me. I'm like, who the fuck is that? Why?
When it comes to Bay and Callista, Bay, I think she's had a lot of things going on, so she hasn't been able to be as around as much. But when she is around, she is very, very good, from my experience.
Yeah.
And Callista has just gotten promoted to sergeant maybe 2 to 3 weeks ago. I can't remember. But my experience with her, I had a one-on-one chat with her after we fired Croc, actually. And she explained to me even, like McNulty essentially said, do whatever you want with him. I'm giving like you and Bay the choice, giving the sergeants a choice. But then
That's
went around
ridiculous.
and then went around and went back on his word and said, but wait, actually, and there was like this whole deal of like they wanted Croc to ride with Declan, and Declan was gonna do something with him, and Bell ended up riding with Croc, and after that ride along, decided that Croc was too far gone, and we let him go.
See, that's here's my take on it. I had a good conversation with Croc. I personally think there was, you know, I told him while some of the things that he did may be legally justified in his mind, and let's say he was in the right, the fact that a PPO is barking up the tree instead of focusing on becoming an officer is insane.
That was part of the problem, yeah.
But I don't want to go too deep into it because I'm not gonna. But where I was going with this is that is kind of inherently my issue with McNulty. He might be great on the field to run a shootout or whatever the fuck he does, but why, if he feels he has a place for Croc and fix him, why not do that? By passing the buck, it shows that he's, in my opinion, I would question why he's even command to begin with. And furthermore, by passing the buck on to Bell, now Bell's looking like the bad one. You get where I'm going with this? Like, that's not a good look.
It definitely worked out based on what Croc has been twatting. There's only a few of us that look like the bad guys now.
Yeah.
It's hard. I think Shift 2 is a very hard environment for people to grow. It's the hardest one for us to train people. And so when you're looking for those leadership type people in Shift 2, it's very hard. I think Bay and Bell both have a lot of potential. Somebody who's surprised me quite a lot recently, actually, has been Loki. He stepped up quite a lot, especially when dealing with Croc and all of those situations. And I think there's a lot of potential for leadership in him. He did just get senior, so it is But I mean, with the same argument, Ruby and Barrack were both also seniors when they got chief and ash chief. So.
Oh my God! Oh wow! Yep. Yeah. I'm not too concerned about that. Viv, could you give us just a minute, please?
Sorry, of course.
No,
Yep.
you're good. Is there anything else you want to like touch on before I talk to Viv?
I'm just curious. I don't know. Would you be willing to say any names for Ash Chief? That you were
No.
thinking about?
Just
No.
as much as I haven't been referencing the chief. I think PD is way too much of a drama story shit show that bringing that up would be foolish. And I am very aware about a name going around, but confirmation bias is fucking nasty and disgusting. And honestly, the entire police department, when is pointed at, and the reference of Noah's comes up, well, I'm not surprised anymore. Because Miguel Elmarian making a guess, and a lot of the PD just being like, oh yeah, that makes sense, is pretty fucking brain dead. So
I mean, it does make sense, but that's when I actually use my brain and I think about it. But
I mean,
okay. I don't know. I'm very concerned.
I mean,
that, if it's not somebody who is already a part of the department in Shift 2, that has at least a level of respect within it, it's going to turn that shift even more down bad than it is.
that's a fair thought, but when there's 6 cops on duty, there is no department.
I actually don't know how bad the unit numbers have been in Shift 2.
It's really bad. You get like, it depends on the day, but I get an update on almost the daily. So there may be, like, I think yesterday there was like 14 at one point. But it's, it's been real bad. I also am going to ensure that there is no, what's the word called? Like nepotism. Because I also am rather worried. Well, not worried, but I don't want the department to just be one shred of a thought process. You know what I'm saying?
You want people who will speak up against certain things.
Sure, and a little bit of diversity, And to give you an idea, Den might be, a dumbass, but without your dens, I mean, who's next?
No, I think, well, even in regards to Den, does he do those, like, stupid shit sometimes? Yeah, but I think he's gotten a lot better than he was when we basically had the panel before, because I was one of the people who voted to fire him back then. I think he's done better recently, outside of a failed Hydra raid, but that's that. I just worry that the people who maybe are worse than Den, or rack up even more complaints than he does, sometimes there has to be a line, and some of these people cross it.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, I'm sure people have some ideas. But I will say that, I transparently, Sky, I was voted in by the public.
Yeah.
Right. And there's expectations, and I have a bit like, look, discipline's good, but I need flavor in there too. Otherwise, LSPD is just going to be looked at a certain kind of way, and I don't want that to happen. It's not good for anybody, right? But I think some of those details will sort of come out in time. I wish the best for the LSPD, but look, whoever gets put into the chief position, people are going to hate it, right? It doesn't matter who it is. Whoever's going to get the ass chief position, there's going to be a different set of individuals that are going to get butthurt about it.
Oh,
but
absolutely.
But the unfortunate thing for the city is I don't really give a fuck. At the end of the day, you know, I take in opinions, right, and I try to make the most reasonable decision. And if others don't agree, well, you know, they got their options. You know what I mean? They can vote for someone else, or they can, you know, do whatever the fuck they want. But I think in the long run, hopefully a plan works. But like I said, I don't want to, you know, I get the notion of we want to hire from within. I get the notion of like people may feel like someone's an outsider, but at the end of the day, there is no real PD right now. Maybe outside of your shift. It just is what it is. Like, y'all got fucked up under Max, and then he got split in half. They hand cherry picked a bunch of cops out, right? It's like a skeleton with like a couple pieces of meat left. And that's outside of the fact that, you know, some of these degenerates were left in the department, you know, like Rika, Maeve, etc. And I have nothing good about, and you know what I'm saying? You get at least where I'm coming from, whether you agree with it or not. Like,
yeah, I do. I see your perspective.
yeah, because it's not the PD that's my first priority. It's the city, and the PD is just one component of it.
No, yeah, you're absolutely correct.
So, you know, anyways, Sky, I got to talk to Viv. I also got a bunch of stuff to review. So, if you do want to chat more, like tomorrow or something like that, you know, don't hesitate.
All right.
All right.
Have a good rest of your day. It's
Yep.
nice finally talking to you.
Absolutely. I appreciate it. And hey, whatever happens, you know, try to, you know, support them. You know what I mean? And at least try it out, you know?
Yeah.
All right. Hey, Vivian.